Hello my gorgeous makeup loving friends, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, my name is Teresa. So I recently got the Chic bundle from Coloured Raine, and this is a part 1 of 2 because I got all 4 of the palettes and I wanted to be able to use them all to kind of get a decent idea of what they're like. So for today I am looking at the Pretty Chic and the Sunset Chic. So the Sunset Chic, which by the way very difficult to pronounce, looks like this, and the Pretty Chic looks like this. So if you want to see some swatches on my face, if you want to see a tutorial of this look and want to see my overall opinions of these palettes, then fantastic, you have clicked on the correct video. Well done. 10 points to your Hogwarts house. But do please keep on watching. My parents invested a lot in my education, and now this is what I'm doing. Anyways, let's take the Sunset Chic first and give that a little swatch on my face. Okay, so that's the Sunset Chic. You can kind of see there's definitely some shades that have more pigment than others. I'm looking at you two guys. Really unimpressed. You'll see that as well when I play with it on the eyes. So the Sunset Chic, it's kind of like a sort of a palette, but let's try the Pretty Chic one now. Okay, so this is the Pretty Chic one. You can see that this is head and shoulders above the Sunset Chic in terms of its pigmentation. These two shades though look very, very similar when they're swatched, but I will say they do look a little bit different on the eye. I mean, obviously, immediately, I preferred the Pretty Chic, just in terms of the way that it swatches. The shimmers, I will also say in the Pretty Chic, feel that little bit more buttery. Now that's not to say that these aren't really lovely in terms of their shimmers, but I feel that this one has a distinct advantage in my opinion. But anyways, the next bit is all doing the face. I know, watch as I transform. Surf, go do work. I don't know, I can't do the TikTok transitions, and this is YouTube. Yeah! I know, who'd have thought that I was going to do a sunset eye? I mean you, obviously, because you saw the intro, you cunning little fox. Bested yet again by you, my arch nemesis. Anyways, fuck it. I used the Pretty Chic and the Sunset Chic to do this shit chic. Yeah, anyways, let's do it. Let's do it together. Sounds wrong. Oh well. So I'm starting off with the Sunset Chic palette, and I'm actually using a Coloured Raine mini blending brush. It came as part of a set because once you ordered X amount, they gave some free brushes. And I gotta say, pretty impressed with the quality of the brushes. If you're looking for some brushes and you're in the States and these are freely available to you, give it a go. I am going into the shade Sunset. Okay, is this a super pigmented yellow? It's not bad. Is it the best that I've tried? No. I'm going to be a bit whatever here. I think this is actually quite on a par with the more recent Makeup Revolution Soph palette. You know, what was it? The Extra Spicy or Spice Extra or Spice Up Your Life. And now I'm thinking of the Spice Girls. But it's kind of giving me those sort of vibes when you put the two of these together. So if you have that, you probably don't need this. But I gotta say, it blends pretty bloody nicely, and I do like Coloured Raine in terms of their formula. I did have a little bit of an issue in terms of the shipping. It took the guts of 2 months to get to me from when I ordered it, so I didn't really love that particular experience. But I mean, you can see this is pretty darn pigmented. But I am giving them the benefit of the doubt. They are like a smaller, like indie brand, so it can take a while to ship things. And then with everything that's happening in the world, you know, fair enough, very first world problems. But it did take them a while to get back to me, you know, from the customer services, which personally I don't love. Like it was taking an average of 2 to 3 days to get back to me, and those were 2 to 3 business days. So for me, that's not fantastic. I don't love that. But we've a nice amount of pigment there, and I'm using my Spectrum 812, going back into the Sunset palette, and I'm going into Evening. I mean, Jesus, if you're going to, like, you know, use a Sunset Chic palette. You kind of have to do a sunset eye. Like, that'd be weird if you didn't. So I'm bringing that up here. Will say this isn't wildly pigmented. I don't know if it's like slightly hard pan or what the story is, but it was a bit odd. I'm bringing it out here. You can see not getting a massive amount of pigment off of it. It was quite strange because like normally Coloured Raine are like redonkulously pigmented, but this one, gotta say, it did not wow me. So I'm bringing it up here as well. Let's just mesh it in with the eyebrows, because fuck it, why not? Eyebrows, you're too prominent, getting too much real estate on my face. But yeah, you can see, like, this really isn't as pigmented as I would expect from Coloured Raine. I have quite a few of their products to date, and yeah, like this is not, it's not patchy or anything, it's just the pigment is very, very light. Or is it just me? Maybe I'm just being a whingy bitch. Wouldn't be the first time. You know, I do love a good whinge. But yeah, not wildly impressed with the amount of pigment that I'm getting off that. That I think would function pretty bloody well as a blush, which was part of what I was thinking of using this palette for predominantly, was as a blush palette. So in that sense, then I'm like, okay, now I couldn't use the rest of it really, because there's a very, very dark kind of brick red colour in there, and I definitely couldn't use that as a blush. I'm taking this Cash Beauty brush and I'm going into the shade Gloaming, which I'm like, is that even a word? That is again in the Sunset Chic palette. And can I just take a moment to say that it is so fucking hard to say Sunset Chic without calling it Sunset Chic. So I think that I should receive some sort of a trophy for this. Yeah, again, here we're seeing not the most pigmented. Now, bearing in mind, in this instance, I'm going on with a more blending brush rather than the past brush would have been slightly more packy, like almost domed. So, you know, this is not, I don't know, it isn't quite what I would be used to with them. It was an odd one. I did get all four of like the Chic bundle because I'm an idiot, but I'll have a separate video on the green and the pink because I can, frankly, because I can. I will say that they do blend together really, really quite well. Like, I'm not having to work very, very hard at that, but I definitely feel like maybe they've changed their formula or something, but this is not as pigmented as I would be used to when it comes to Coloured Raine. I feel like at points when I look at this, it looks quite pale. It's very strange. I'm taking this Melt Cosmetics brush, it's nice and kind of angled, and I'm going into a Sundown. And literally all I'm doing with that is just kind of going along the arch of the brow to here, and you can see actually that's really bloody nice. That would make a wonderful glowy blush. I think I am predominantly going to end up using this palette as a blush palette because I think it's going to work so well for that. I might use that as actually a blush today. Don't judge me, but you can see that's really, that does come on quite nicely. Hopefully you can see it, if not, oh well. And then I'm taking another Melt brush, it's a liner brush, and I'm going into the shade Twilight. And this one I think would actually make a really nice highlighter, and all I'm doing is just packing it there where the yellow is and bringing it up there. A nice amount of like a pretty shimmer on that, but it doesn't overpower the yellow, which I'm quite happy about because I really didn't want it to. Now I'm just going to take a blank canvas E10 and just swirl around there to really try and get Twilight to blend in with the yellow, which it does do pretty darn well, and then just kind of get these shades to mesh a little bit more. So we're changing things up a little bit. I'm using my Morphe M562, and now I'm using the Pretty Chic palette, and I'm going into Daydream. And all I'm doing is just putting that along where the crease is and kind of working that up a little bit towards the brow and bringing it out here. Now personally, I think this colour should have kind of been in with the Sunset Chic, because like I feel like almost there wasn't enough kind of variation in the Sunset Chic to make a really nice sort of a sunset eye. Maybe that's me. Maybe I'm just being like disgustingly critical. But it does blend nicely with the other ones. I think that the Pretty Chic is a nicer palette. I think it works a little bit better than the Sunset Chic does. There's like a little bit more pigment to it. Anyway, well, that's what I think anyways. I'm now taking an Inglot 208 and I'm going into the shade Sweetheart. And I know that technically I should have a packing brush when I'm like popping it on there, but I also want to be able to kind of blend it with the previous shade. So I'll be honest, I'm just being fucking lazy. Are we surprised? That is my brand. We're surprised that she's upright. Honestly, that should be my theme song. I'm now taking a Morphe M508 and I'm going into the shade Crush on You. So like, you know, trust the process or whatever it is that I'm doing over here. Is it a process? Who knows? Is it a mess? Yeah, probably. But I'm just popping that into the inner corner there because, you know, why not? It's a bit of shimmer, it's a bit of fun. It's meant to be a sort of sunsetty eye. I can do what I like. You're not my real dad. And now I'm just taking a Morphe M562, nothing is on it, and I'm just going to swish along there. So blending in that shimmer, in with like the yellow that's there, in with the pink that's there, and then also bringing it up there because I did have that more hot pink in with the cooler, well not cooler, but deeper pink, and just attempting to get them to hang out together. You know, really forcing a relationship. I'm just going back in with that mini blending brush into the yellow to just pop a little bit more there because it's kind of run off, you know. We need to infuse it back in. In you go, my love. As you can see there, that is actually a pretty decent yellow. Like the fact that it kind of blends in that well. Do the eyes match? No. But what did you expect? I'm using this BH Cosmetics domed pencil and I'm going into the shade Bougie. And all I'm doing with this is just kind of sketching out where it would go. So really just packing on the colour. And this is quite a nice blue toned purple, which is, if you don't know, so hard to get it to a point where it doesn't end up being fucking patchy. Because normally my experience with like blurples is that when I attempt to like blend them out, I just end up with a big old patchy mess. So thankfully that is not the case with this one. I'm also bringing it down to just under the lash line because I can. And then I'm taking this Melt Cosmetics brush and I'm going back into that deep purple shade and just blending it out here. And don't worry, I'm going to get to the inner corner of the eye again at another point. That is what I like to call future Teresa's problem. She's somehow emotionally more equipped to deal with that nonsense than current Teresa is. And now, because I'm lazy, I'm taking Morphe M506 and I'm going between that kind of hot pink shade, which is called Sweetheart, and then the blurple shade, which is called Bougie. And I'm putting them onto the same brush because it just makes blending easier. And, again, in case you didn't know, I am a lazy bee. And this is just the cheat sheet for, like, getting an okay blend when you're too lazy to really bother. I'm now taking a blank canvas E10 and I'm going into the shade Sweetheart. And all I'm doing is just kind of going to the under the lash line and following where I'd kind of put the shade Bougie and just kind of going over it a little bit so that it's a little bit more gentle. And now I'm taking a Morphe JH39 and I'm going back into the Sunset palette and I'm using the shade Gloaming, which, by the way, I now feel like I need to look up what gloaming actually is. But knowing me, I haven't looked it up by the time that I've edited this and I still don't know what it is. So, oh well, we'll all have to live in this great big old mystery. And then I'm taking a blank canvas E10 and I'm going into the shade Sunset. And are you surprised? I'm just popping it there and working it out towards here. Nothing wildly difficult. I think this is one of the more simple eye looks I've done in a while, and I kind of like it, you know, that it is a bit more like chilled. But yeah, that's it, my little chickadees. I'm going to feck off now and finish off the rest of my face. I'll probably use the two palettes as like blush and highlight as well. I'll tell you that when I get back. But other than that, I will see you in approximately 1 second. I am a woman who is true to my word, so I did say I was going to use one of the shades as a blush and one as a highlighter. So actually I went into Sunset Chic and I used the shade Evening as a blush. Love it as a blush. Love it as a blush. I'm here for that. And then I went into Pretty Chic and I used, this is by the way a very difficult one, Booked and Busy. I used that as a highlighter. Now that's very glittery. So if you don't like a glittery highlight, well, it's not meant to be a highlight, but fuck it, you know me, I'll do my own thing. But I will zoom you in now so you can see what the overall look is at the end of the day. I glued things to myself. Are you surprised? I hope not. Anyways, that's it. And FYI, I did use some of their liquid lipsticks as well. I used Summer, which is a pink one, and Honey Mustard, which is like a yellow, and I meshed the two together because I'm an idiot. Anyways, I also used like this Shein or She Glam sticker and some gems. But I'll take off my glasses so you can see it a little bit better. Was it a complicated look? Absolutely not. But I think it came together quite nicely. In case you're wondering about the nice kind of duochrome liner at the bottom, that is from She Glam. It's part of their Chroma collection and it is the shade Subliminal. But I do think everything kind of worked together pretty nicely. Is it a super complicated look? No, but you know what? It's Wednesday evening and I'm tired, so this is what you're getting. That's right, lads, it's review time. So let's talk first about the Sunset Chic. Is it necessarily a whole palette all by itself? I feel like it isn't. Even though this is a deep shade, I don't feel like it's deep enough to give you exactly what you would need. And I kind of felt like I genuinely did need this palette to create a more kind of put together look. So as an eyeshadow palette, I feel like it isn't fully there. Like the pigment isn't what I would necessarily associate with Coloured Raine, because usually when I think pigment, I think Coloured Raine, and this just wasn't quite delivering it. So for an eyeshadow palette, I was like, oh, this isn't great. But, and this was why I bought it, to be fair, as a blush palette, hells yes! Oh my god, love it. And this is a really nice highlighter as well, and a glowy blush. This as a blush palette, yes. Now, if I was to rate it as an eyeshadow palette, it would get about a 5 out of 10. I just don't think it was really worth getting. But if you had it as a blush palette, a solid 7.5 to an 8 out of 10. Really enjoyed. Yes, I'm here for that. Let's talk then about Pretty Chic. This is more of a palette that you could legitimately use in isolation. Would you get a lot of looks out of it? No, but fuck it, it's a £6 palette. You're not expecting miracles. Or are you? I don't know. I thought this was a really pretty shade as a highlight. I'm kind of here for that. Yeah, I thought this all worked really, really well. And this is the pigment I would be used to from Coloured Raine. This was much more in line with what I would have seen from them in the past. So for me, this was far superior to the Sunset in terms of its pigmentation, in terms of its performance. And I think the two of them did work really, really well together. But for me, this is the clear winner out of the two of them. I would give this a solid 9 out of 10. I really, really liked this. Do I necessarily love £6 palettes? No, because I find them limiting, but I thought this was pretty darn good. And I think also if you have a deeper skin tone, this is not only going to be a nice kind of eyeshadow palette, but I think you could use this as a really interesting blush palette as well. So always nice to have a twofer. But guys, that is it. As I said, there will be a part 2, so keep your little eyes out for that, because that will be coming up sometime next week whenever I get a chance to film. But that is it. That is the end of this particular video. Do please like, comment and subscribe. Turn on that notification bell and do please share, because sharing is caring, unless of course it's an STD, in which case, you know, wrap it up, don't be gross. But that's it. That's the end of the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.